Well, hey there. How is everybody doing this lovely Friday? I just had a birthday yesterday. It was wonderful. It's such a great experience to know that you have thousands of friends on Facebook that you don't see every day or every week or even every year. But I'm always astonished by how many of them will go to the trouble to share a birthday greeting because Facebook is so good about giving us all that little friendly nudge like, hey, these are the list of people in your network that are having a birthday today. I heard from so many people and it was just lovely. I also had a Zoom call with my 3 kids, even though I have one every single week on Tuesday night, but we got together again last night as well. My husband and I wanted to make a reservation at our very favorite Portland restaurant for my birthday, but they had a private party. So we are going tonight. And last night, we got to have a fantastic charcuterie tray that was sent to us by our realtor because 3 weeks from today, we are moving again. Now, if you follow me on social media or if you are on my email list, you've already heard a few details about that. And you'll be hearing more details about that in the next few weeks because this is actually the second time I am relocating and making a long distance move in just barely 3 years. I've learned so much from the experience of uprooting myself and moving to another state where I don't know anyone, going through a year of adjustment and then 2 years of COVID, and realizing that this is not our forever home. And so we're going to go try another place where we don't know anyone and haven't lived before. So just deciding to do something like that is not something that most people would do, nor do they need to do it. But everything that I've learned in the last 3 years has really prepared us for doing it. And while it's certainly a hassle to move, life is nothing but an adventure. So I'm excited for the adventure to continue. One other announcement before I get into the topic of this week's Driven Woman podcast episode and the reason we're here for this live, or for those of you watching the replay later, which is Boundaries as Self-Care, is to announce the winners of the Driven Woman podcast Anna Delvey t-shirt contest. Now, if you happen to miss that, it's not too late to go back and enjoy episode 100 of the Driven Woman podcast, which was released last week. And it's where I did a little in-depth analysis of the Anna Delvey character from the hit Netflix series Inventing Anna, but not talking about her as a con artist, as a sociopath, as a narcissist, or any of the other things that people are speculating about, but as a female founder and entrepreneur, because that's what I'm interested in. So you can go back and listen to that if you want. You are too late for the t-shirt contest, unfortunately, but you're not too late to enjoy that episode if you'd like to do so. The t-shirt contest was, I found this terrific t-shirt from the Inventing Anna series that has a silhouette of the character, and underneath says, I'm an icon, a legend, Anna Delvey from the series. So I've been wearing that t-shirt around, getting into a lot of interesting conversations as a result of that t-shirt, and held a contest for listeners to the podcast to write a review, screenshot it, send it to me, tag me on Instagram, and they would be entered into the contest. Yesterday, I decided to pull the winners. I wasn't going to do it for a few more days, but it was my birthday and I was just in the mood. So I pulled a winner and then I decided, you know what? It's my birthday. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling generous. I'm going to pull 2 winners. So I announced those winners today in this Facebook group. They actually happen to both be members of the Facebook group and long-term fans and followers of the podcast and members of the group, and just really, really supportive, lovely women, Andrea and Heather. So congratulations again to them if they happen to be watching this later. They've both been notified. Their t-shirts have been ordered from Rosie's Tees on Etsy, and they are, in fact, on their way. So without further delay, let's talk about boundaries. Now, if you have been paying attention to my boundaries series on the podcast, then you know that back as of episode 95, I started every other week episode 95, 97, 99, and this week, episode 101. I've been talking about different aspects of boundaries. I honestly think that I could talk about boundaries for the rest of my life, or at least the rest of my work life, my business life, and my coaching life, and never run out of content because it is such an important topic. It is such a rich topic. There's so much that can be said about it. And because I work with women, and because I work with women who largely have been culturally conditioned to give, and give some more in their personal lives, in their family lives, in their lives as wives, mothers, daughters, sisters, friends, neighbors, community members, employees, and owners of businesses, that's a whole lot of giving going on. And that means there's a whole lot of women at risk for burnout because of all that giving. So in this week's episode, Boundaries as Self-Care, I talked a lot about how most of us didn't go directly from our education into owning a business. I have worked with a few women that knew they were entrepreneurs, knew they never wanted to work for anyone else, knew they couldn't work for anyone else, and they started businesses right after school. But they are in the minority. In fact, most women don't even know that owning their own business is an option until much later in life. And in my experience, many women become first-time entrepreneurs later in life after getting forced out of the workforce for one way or another. If they happen to be in a glamour field, they age out. They're not young anymore, so they just find themselves not getting good projects, not getting promotions, not getting salary bumps, and sometimes they're the first ones to be shown the door when it's layoff time, when it's time to cut back, downsize, outsource, consolidate, or my favorite, go in another direction. Other female solopreneurs are like myself, where they were in a very good position in a career, but they faced harassment of one form or another, and they decided to leave and start their own business. So the point of it is that when we go into entrepreneurship, whether we've been in a corporate field, whether we've been in a nonprofit field, or whether we have been in academia on the professor track, we have been culturally conditioned to those environments. I had all three of those experiences. I had a corporate career, I had a nonprofit career, and I had an academic career. The last two overlapped. And in each one of them, there were situations where I was not treated fairly. I was not promoted because I was female. I was held back because I have a strong personality, and the men I worked with didn't like that. All kinds of reasons. But the bottom line is, when you start your own business as a woman and you have a previous career in nonprofit, academic, or corporate, you have been culturally conditioned to the expectations of what one needs to do to be a success in those ways, in those types of career paths. And what that usually involves, no matter who's signing your check, is, generally speaking, going the extra mile. In fact, you probably have seen that on at least one of your performance reviews in the past. Always willing to go the extra mile. Takes on additional responsibilities with, gladness. Like always willing to volunteer for additional assignments. Never complains about overtime. Willing to work weekends. Always helps pick up the slack when we're under deadlines. Like those type of comments that are made about us in our former careers are usually the things that we're praised for. We are praised for going the extra mile, going above and beyond, being a team player, right? taking additional responsibilities, working extra hours, making ourselves available. And then the opposite is those of us who use up all of our PTO, those of us who always make sure we take our vacation time, those of us who make sure we take a nice full lunch every day. Those folks, oh, they may still have job security. They might even get promoted, but they will be subtly thought of as less desirable employees, won't they? Because all of that overextending and volunteering and willingness to do more than has been requested, required, more than is in our job description. Those of us who have, without complaint, accepted additional responsibilities to the point where we are actually getting paid to do one job, but our responsibilities have expanded to the point where we're really doing the work of 2 or more people. Now, that will make you successful in a corporate, nonprofit, or academic career. But none of that is healthy. None of that allows you to even know what good boundaries are. None of that sets you up for practicing self-care. All of it is a path that rewards you for ignoring your limits, denying your needs, and creating a culture of toxic productivity where people who go to work sick, as long as they don't spread that to others, are preferred over those who actually use the sick time that they are legally provided. I was one of those people. You were probably one of those people. I wore that as a badge of honor that I never take my sick day. Who are all these slackers who clock out every day at 5? And when I say clock out, I don't necessarily mean punch a time card. But if I was only being paid 9 to 5, those who are also only being paid 9 to 5, who chose to come in at 9 and leave at 5, I considered them slackers because I would come in earlier, work through lunch, and stay later. And because I was subtly and not subtly rewarded for that, I was a good employee. So why did I end up being harassed? Why did I end up being overlooked for promotion? Why did I find myself reporting to people who were less qualified, less capable than I was, again and again? Because the game's not fair, my friends. The game is not fair. And because most women will keep following the rules, keep being a good girl at our own expense, because we think that's how to win the game. The game is rigged against us. We were never meant to win, but it's in the company's best interest that we play as though it were possible to win, because we actually allow ourselves to be exploited in the process because we think it's going to pay off. Most of the time it does not. Now, I will be the last person that will ever advocate for being a slacker, for not giving your best, for cutting corners, for doing the minimum. You will never, ever hear the driven woman encourage anyone to do that. If you have a job that you barely want to do the minimum for, find another job. 8 hours is a long time to feel that way, especially when it's 5 days a week indefinitely. There's got to be something else you could have more enthusiasm for. Go find that. But there's a big difference between give till it hurts and invite yourself to be exploited with no return on investment and being a slacker. And what's in the middle is what I teach my coaching clients and what I practice for myself. And that is boundaries as an act of self-care. Now, what kind of boundaries am I talking about? Many. I am talking about when you are in your own business, especially for service-based businesses and solopreneurs like coaches and consultants. When you reach a stage where, even though it's always nice to have more customers, more clients, more contracts, and more revenue, but accepting clients that are not a good fit is not practicing good self-care. Over delivering to clients because you want to make them happy is not practicing self-care. Allowing your clients to push you into working on the weekends, because in a service-based business, you have deadlines. If your client doesn't come across with what they need to give you on time, then you can't possibly deliver on time. One of my clients is a website developer, and this is an area that we've worked on, boundaries as self-care, because she's a person who needs a fair amount of downtime. She needs a lot of alone time to rest and recharge before she can go back and go at it hard the next week. So when she's building someone a website and she's told them, I need the images from you, I need the copy from you, I need, whatever things she needs from them so that she can build the website. And I promise you, I'll have it to you in so many days or weeks. Well, what if they don't get all the deliverables to her that she requires? Can she still deliver that website in the promised number of days or weeks without compromising herself, without sacrificing her self-care, and without forcing herself into a position where she's working at night or on the weekends? No. And this is where we have to get ourselves ready to have difficult conversations. Nobody wins when you work through lunch every day because you're overextended. Nobody wins when you're not getting enough sleep, when you're not getting enough exercise, when you're not getting enough nutritious food, when you are rushing from project to project to project, when you are working with clients and customers that stress you out because they're unrealistic in their expectations and demanding in their communications. That's not good self-care. So the kind of boundaries I'm talking about are being willing to decide who do you want to work with, how much time do you actually need between projects, how many clients or customers or groups of clients or customers can you work with in a given day, week, month, or year? How much money do you need to charge for your services so that you can pay your taxes, save for retirement, take time off, secure your financial stability, and maybe even practice generosity? Most of us don't think about those things when we start a business. Why? Because we start a business coming from the corporate, nonprofit, or academic culture that teaches us self-sacrifice, willingness to be exploited, and a belief in the promise that we will be rewarded. It's like all the people who think if I sacrifice in the here and now, I'll be rewarded in the afterlife. I don't know. I can't comment on that. But I can comment on burnout. I can comment on bitterness. And I can comment on boundaries. No one is going to set boundaries for you. Your clients and customers will always want more. Your job, your company, your boss will always want more. Your family and friends and community will always want more. So it's up to you to really understand, accept, and respect your bandwidth, your capacity, and what your boundaries need to be so that you are functioning within that capacity, within that bandwidth. We can all go above and beyond under extreme circumstances and for short periods of time. It's how human beings are wired with our whole fight or flight system, cortisol, adrenaline. But we are not designed for chronic, long-term over delivering. It's exactly the same thing as like being under constant stress when you think about it, because the human being is designed for most of the time things being stable, not boring, but most of the time we are working within what I call your fly zone, which is stimulated enough so that you find what you're doing to be interesting, challenging, novel, and there's enough urgency that you feel stimulated to keep going and get it done. That's your fly zone. You got to hit your minimum, otherwise it's too boring and you don't feel like doing it. If you go above your fly zone, if you're doing too much, if you have to turn it around too quickly, if there's too many people pulling you in different directions, too many conflicting demands and priorities, now you're in your stress zone and you will be experiencing the effects of stress. You will have higher levels of cortisol and adrenaline, the stress chemicals, and they will affect your body, mind, and brain. Over time, we start to break down. I mean, not only am I talking about being a little anxious or a little depressed, being a little irritable, a little bit short-tempered, a little bit prickly, not able to sleep as well, digestive disturbances, binging type behaviors. Those are the symptoms that you have exceeded your bandwidth. You are outside your fly zone. You're overextended, and you are now living with a body, mind, and brain that are behaving as though your life is in danger. Because that's just how human beings are wired. It really doesn't matter that you learned this toxic productivity mindset and behavior from your former career. What matters is now that you are your own boss, you have to unlearn it because you're the human resources director of your business and your life. And there isn't anyone who's going to tell you you're working too hard. You should take a break. You should raise your prices so you don't have to see so many clients. You might want to schedule a vacation. I mean, your spouse and kids might want to say that, but they also depend on your income. So it really does come down to you. You are the one who has to appreciate what your actual capacity is. You are the one who has to figure out how many clients you can serve, how many hours you can work, and how much time you need to rest and recharge. And you need to build that into your business because no one can do it for you. Self-care and boundaries are your job because you will be the one to benefit from doing so, and you will be the one who will experience the negative consequences if you don't. Now, I know this boundary series is coming to an end. This is the last one of the boundary episodes for now. And I know that I've come across with my now trademark tough love. But the point is not to blame you, shame you, hurt you, criticize you, or trigger any negative feelings. It is to say with full affection, respect, and love that I see you. I am just like you. And I had to learn the hard way that I had fully adopted a mindset where too much was never enough. I had to unlearn that because it was hurting me and because I was the only one who could change things. So I don't want you to have to get that far. I want you to hear this message and others like it and say, yeah, that's the train I'm on, and I don't need to go all the way to that final stop. I can exit here and find a better way. If you want help doing that, continue listening to this podcast. You can also follow me on Instagram at Coach Diane Wingert or on LinkedIn at Diane Wingert Coaching. You can get on my email list. Just visit my website and sign up. You can join my Facebook group if you're not already in it, the Driven Woman Facebook group. Or if you're ready to get a very powerful mentor and guide up into your biz shiz, and because of my many years experience as a psychotherapist, combined with my entrepreneurial ability, I've helped many people start and improve their businesses. Maybe it's time for me to help you with yours. So you can sign up for a free consult on my website on the Work With Me page. So that is all for the Boundary series. That is all for this week. I'm going to continue celebrating my birthday over the weekend. But for now, you can see I'm wearing my gym clothes. I'm going to go hop on my Peloton and give my brain a little afternoon boost before I finish the rest of my day. So thank you for joining me or for joining me on the replay. And I will see you again next week. I'm alternating on these live streams between the afternoon and the morning. If I haven't hit a time that's right for you, but you'd really like to be here live, just go ahead and email me or DM me on Instagram or LinkedIn and suggest the time that works for you. Because I've just started doing these live streams, you never know. I might be willing to show up at the time where you could meet me here. So have a great week. I'll see you next time.